Hello everyone, welcome to today's card. I am sharing this adorable 2-for-1 card and you're just gonna love this one. We're using the new Playing in the Rain bundle. This is a fun fold card, so it opens like this. It is so much fun and you can easily make 2 of these from 1 sheet of cardstock. And I'm going to show you a fun trick with cutting your cardstock and cutting your DSP so that you can make this adorable little card. Okay, so let's get started. I am using that fun Playing in the Rain bundle. This is in our new mini catalog that is coming out on January 5th. You can order this bundle on January 5th, or if you are a demonstrator, you can order it now. If you are thinking about becoming a demonstrator, you can put this in your starter kit, so it's always a good time to join. All right, I'm going to use my Stamparatus to, I'm going to pull my stamp set in here. I'm going to use my Stamparatus to stamp my little bunny here because I want him to have a nice black image, and so I'm going to stamp him a couple of times. So I'm just going to stick my magnets on here, stick my little bunny on here, put him down on the corner, and I'm going to pick that up. And I'm going to use Memento because I am coloring him with some Stampin' blends. And so I want to make sure that I'm using a non-reactive ink with Stampin' blends, and that is our Memento. So I'm going to stamp him. And then I want him to be just a little bit darker. I want those lines to be nice and black and crisp. So I'm going to ink up again and stamp again. And with the help of the Stamparatus, it will stamp in the exact same spot every time. And look at that gorgeous, crisp black image. So gorgeous. Okay, let me put that aside, put the Stamparatus away, put my ink away, and we're going to do some coloring. So I have some Stampin' blends here. I'm going to start with my Pool Party. We're going to color the little puddle under him. And let's see, I'm going to start with my light Pool Party. I like to use my bullet tip end. And I'm just going to do a whole wash of light on the puddle. And then I'm going to come in where there's some dark spots and just add some dark lines with my dark. So under his foot, it's going to be casting a little bit of a shadow, and then the artist has given us some lines here that's going to tell us that's where it's a little bit darker. And so I'm not even going to blend that out. I'm just going to leave those darker lines there. So I'm going to put my Stampin' blends away as we go, just so I don't get confused. All right, I'm going to use my light Flirty Flamingo, and we're going to color the nose, and I'm going to color the inside of the ears. I'm not going to do any blending with this part. This is just a little minor detail on here, but it adds a lot, so I'm just going to make sure that gets all taken care of. He is already looking so cute. All right, we're going to color the jacket. I have some Calypso Coral, so I'm actually going to start with my dark this time, and I'm going to go around the little collar of the jacket with my dark where there's these little lines. I'm going to add those under the arm and around the bottom. I'm going to add some more dark. And I'm actually going to color in a little bit of the bottom down here with the dark. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Along the collar, under the arm, and then along the bottom is where the darker lines I think would be. And then with the light, just go in and little circular motions, just blend that out. His jacket's a little bit small, so just take your time. I like to use the bullet tip because I get a little bit more control on the coloring that way, but you can use the brush tip if you feel that that's more comfortable for you. It's really just a preference thing. It doesn't matter. And you can start with your light, you can start with your dark. Stampin' blends are so forgiving in that manner. Okay, I'm going to come back in with my dark just a little bit. I just want to add just a little bit more dark along the bottom here, along his little arms. And then I'm going to come in with my light Calypso Coral and just blend all that out. Fantastic. I think we're doing good. I'm going to put my Calypso Coral away, and then our final color is going to be for our little bunny, and I'm going to use my gray granite for that. I'm going to start with my dark, and I'm going to put my dark on areas where I think it's going to be the darkest, on the bottom of his ears, on both ears. I'm going to do that on both ears, so the bottoms, and then I'm going to go just a little bit along the top of his head, and then down his face. Anywhere that his jacket is going to overlap, I'm going to go dark with my darker one because I think that's going to be a little bit darker. It's going to be casting a shadow. His little hands, and then under his jacket down here, it's going to be darker. And then just on the bottom of his feet. So that's where I added all of my dark lines on him. And then I'll go in with my light, and we're just going to kind of blend that out. So with the light, I'm going to go up his ears, just making sure the darker portions kind of stay toward the bottom. Do the other ear. And then for his face, I'm just going to kind of work in circular motions, starting on those darker areas and then just moving to the center of his face. And that is his little face. It is so cute. Now you could add little rosy cheeks if you wanted. I didn't do that, but you can. Just his hands, and then down here on his feet, there's not a lot of blending. There's not a lot of space to do a whole lot of blending, so I'm basically just coloring in. And that is our little bunny. Isn't he adorable? He is so cute. Now we're gonna cut him out with the coordinating dies, which I've lost them. Here they are. So I'm going to pull out that little bunny die. Now you're going to notice that that little bunny die, it's not going to cut out the puddle, so we will have to fussy cut that puddle. I'm trying to look in here. There is a little puddle die here, but it is not the same shape as that one, so it's not going to die cut that little puddle, but that's okay because we'll just fussy cut it. It's an easy little one to fussy cut, and I wanted to leave in the puddle because I think that that puddle adds so much. Now you could stamp it directly onto your circle if you wanted, and then you could die cut the bunny separately. So you could die cut that puddle image again, or the whole bunny image again, onto that circle if you didn't want to fussy cut that puddle, but it's not a big deal to me. I like to fussy cut, so I am just going to fussy cut that little puddle. All right, so you're going to need the platform number 1. You're going to need number 2. Oh my goodness, I just smacked the camera with that. Number 2, number 3 plate, your die, and your paper, and then another number 3 plate on top. Okay, so this is going to come out. Let's move our machine out of the way. You could also use the mini machine if you have the mini. This is a great little set to work in the mini machine, but my paper was a little too big for the mini, so look at how cute that little bunny is. He's so sweet. Okay, let me grab my scissors, which, my gosh, okay, they are. I couldn't find my scissors. So I'm just going to cut this apart, and I'm just going to fussy cut this little image. Now part of it has already been die cut into from the die, so we are pretty much just finishing off that image, and it's a simple little image, and I love the way that it kind of hangs off the circle. So I think this is an important step, and it doesn't take too long. And there we go, we're all done. And that's it. Don't worry too much about those lines being perfectly straight because we're putting it onto a circle. I've already die cut a circle here. I have a coordinating calypso coral circle from the layering circles dies. We're going to put it onto a circle, so any of those white lines are just going to fade into the background. So don't worry too much about being too precise with that. And let's go ahead and glue this down. So I'm going to, actually before we do that, let's do our stamping. I want to stamp the greeting on this. So from that same stamp set, I have the Oh Happy Day, and I'm going to use Calypso Coral ink, and we're just going to stamp that on off to the left and put that aside. I'm going to use some dimensionals, and I'm going to stick my bunny on first because that will help us figure out where that puddle is going to go. We can line it up perfectly. So I'm just going to put my bunny kind of dancing off to the side right here. And now with some liquid glue, you can just put a little bit on the back. You can also use any other glue of your choice, including glue dots or whatever you want. And we're just going to kind of line that his little foot up with the little puddle, just like that. And I kind of love that, whoops, wait till it dries. I kind of love that he's kind of dancing above the puddle because we've popped him up on dimensionals. So I think it's a great thing that die cuts separately. Okay, let's adhere this. I'm going to use my liquid glue because it's right here and it's handy. Let's adhere this to our little Calypso Coral circle here, scallop circle. There's only going to be just a little hair of those little scallops poking out the sides, but it's such a cute little accent. Now I told you we were making 2 cards, and so I actually have another one already done. So we have 2 of these ready to go for both of the cards that we're making. Okay, so let's talk about our card bases. Let me move this stuff out of the way. So I have my paper trimmer here. This is my Stampin paper trimmer. I love this one, and I have a piece of Mango Melody cardstock. Now to get this fun fold card, let me show you this again. To get this fun fold card, we're going to make 2 score lines, and then we're going to cut it once, and then we're going to end up with 2 card bases. So it's a really fun fold. People will love this one. So on the 8.5-inch side, I'm starting with an 8.5 by 11 piece of Mango Melody cardstock. I'm going to line it up at the 4.25-inch score line, and I'm going to score it in half. And on the long side, on the 11-inch side, I'm going to line it up with the 5.5-inch score line, and I'm going to score it in half. So now we just have score lines that create a grid. Now we're going to cut from one corner down to the other corner. Now this is not going to fit, the paper trimmer is not going to cut all the way. I'm actually going to take out my scoring blade for this one. It's going to allow my cutting blade to go a little bit farther, but I'm just going to make sure that the point is lined up on the track up here, and the point on the bottom is lined up. And I don't think I'm going to be able to get both points in the camera at the same time. So you'll have to kind of trust me on this one. And then we're just going to cut it diagonally, just like that. Now, because this trimmer doesn't go all the way, it doesn't cut all the way to the end, so we will have to use our paper snips and just do a little bit of trimming. Now, if you had a big guillotine paper trimmer that would cut all the way to the end, that would be fantastic. This one, it pretty much gives us those little guidelines, so all we really have to do is just kind of take our scissors and just give it a little trim just to kind of separate it. So it's not too complicated, and it only takes a second. And then you have 2 card bases from that one piece of cardstock. So take your bone folder, and you're just going to fold these up on the score lines, just like this. And this will give you that fun little diagonal opening. So we're going to do the same thing to our second card base here. Fold up this one. So by scoring it on 2 sides, you now have a fun fold for each of those. Now we need some really cute DSP to decorate these with. So I have 2 prints here. Now this print is from the Dandy Designs. That is a celebration option. You get a 48 12 by 12 pieces. It is a $100 option. And then this piece is from the, oh goodness, what is the name of it? It is this, let me pull it out. Let me show you guys this one. The Rain or Shine DSP. This is actually the DSP that coordinates with the bundle that I showed you that we're using, and it is fantastic DSP. So I'm using DSP from both of those. They coordinate so well. And so what we're going to do with these is I'm going to get my paper trimmer back out, and we're going to trim these. Now our cards, the diagonal goes from the top left to the bottom right, so that's how we're going to cut these. So if you have a directional pattern, make sure you cut it in a directional pattern. Ours is not directional, so it doesn't matter too much, but I'm going to make sure that I go from the top left to the bottom right, just lining up both of those points in my track. And I'm cutting them both at the same time. And I'm going to start my paper cutter in the middle and just go from the middle out to each corner. And that will help us not to crush the corners with the paper trimmer. Okay, so this gives us our paper for both cards. So we have patterns for both cards. Isn't that fun? So it's another 2-for-1 card that I just love. So let's go ahead and adhere these down. So I'm going to do this little check print on the flap on the right. So a little bit of it liquid adhesive. I like to use the liquid one to get all the way into the corners. I'm going to open this up and onto the flaps. There we go. And then this really cute little floral piece is going to go on the other side. You can use those stars too. That is super cute. This one's going to go onto this flap. And this will give us just a little bit of a border. The DSP size was 5.25 by 4. The measurements are all in the video description, and they will all be on my blog. If you are shopping for products, I have my host code in the video description, so please check that out if you are shopping for products. Remember, these products will be available starting January 5th, and I will have a different host code starting January 5th, so make sure to check my blog or my social media for my current monthly host code. The host code in the video description is for December, so if you're shopping in December, use that one. All right, so we're just doing the same thing for both cards. We are lining them both up, getting the DSP put down for both of them, and now the most important part of this card. We are going to put on our little our little embellishments. Now, when we do this, we need to only add adhesive to half of it. If we add adhesive to the whole thing, we are going to glue our card shut. So I'm going to kind of, let me move this one off to the side. I'm going to just kind of eyeball and see where it needs to go. And so I'm going to use some dimensionals, and I'm just going to put them up on this half of the card. Peel off those backings. They're all stuck to me with that glue. My fingers are sticky. All right, now we're just gonna put this in the center. Just make sure that is only glued on one flap. You can flip it over, make sure you don't have any adhesive showing. But now your card will open and close. Now we're gonna do the same thing to this one. I'm gonna grab some dimensionals and I'm gonna line this up, figure out where I want this to go. Fantastic. And then I'm just gonna kind of mentally remember this is where it needs to go. And peel off those dimensional backings, and we're going to stick this down just like that. So cute. Oh, happy day. Now I have one more thing to add, which we're going to add some embellishments. I'm going to use these fun flower embellishments. These are in our annual catalog. They are so cute. I'm going to use the Calypso Coral ones, and we're just going to add a little bit. We're just going to add 3 of them around our little bunny image here. I'm going to add one here, I'm going to add one up here, and another one, I think, down here. And they coordinate so well with that paper. And I'm going to do this again, and one there, and a couple just around there, and one there. So that completes this super fun card. And you can see I actually made these two the exact same. But on these, I actually alternated my DSP pattern. So I had the bottom, the little checkered pattern on the bottom and the top. So however you choose to do it, it is up to you. This is such a fun little technique. This is such an adorable little stamp set for this 2-for-1 card sample. Thanks guys for joining me. If you are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. It's free and you never miss a video, and it really helps out my business. Thanks again, guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye.